try that again. Good morning. We gather here today to commemorate and honor the life of Harvey Tuck. With any death, a piece of the divine spark is taken from the world. We gather to respect and reaffirm God's image in every person. Those who Harvey touched form a community here in their grief to express the love, joy, and meaning that Harvey brought to their lives. In this difficult time, may his loved ones find comfort in community, find strength from the lessons he taught, and find that God is with them always, even in times of their greatest pain. Their sorrow is heard, their loss is felt. Hear them, O God, be with them. Message of God's nearness as a source of comfort. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Adonai ro'i lo echsar, binot dasha yarbitseni al mei menuchot yinachaleni, nafshi yeshoveh ira ra ki ata imadi. Shivtecha umisha neged sororai, dishanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya, ach tov v'chesed yirdafuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti b'veit Adonai la'orech yamim. The translation from the words of 23rd Psalm. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness, from ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, only people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. At this time, I'd like to invite Jareen forward to share a poem.
Welcome, family, which started with Cindy, Ron, Audrey, marriages, and now new friends and new family. There's so much I'd like to say about him, but it would be here all day. But and one of those other people who share my love for Harvey is John's talented sister, Nancy, who wrote a nice poem that I think encapsulates some of the love and light that he brought to our lives. It's called In Memory of Harvey Tuck by Nancy Buford. Farewell, kind soul, chief of our clan, 96, a long lifespan. He used no phrase more often than, I am a very lucky man. Charming, generous, unforgettable, a weaver of stories, irrepressible. Exuberant, joyful, always accessible, and to others unfailingly equitable. An engineer analytical, never known as hypocritical, a teller of tales oft allegorical, his mind sphere truly astronomical. His unique spirit, walking 'neath the nimbus, brought light to all of us, an endless plus. A lucky man, yes, but in the end it was thus. All along, the lucky ones were us. Now he's free, new adventures to chart, finding new facts and stories to impart. And though we'll miss his wit and his heart, he's ever with Sana, never to part. Forever, Harvey, we love you.
Say, Debbie, if you want to come forward.
I just love following those kinds of words because mine are not nearly as impressive. 96 incredible years. There aren't many who can say that. He was our Poppy, and Unc. To all of those who loved and admired him, to everyone else, he was always Uncle Harvey. In the last several weeks, people have said the following. Harvey was so sweet, such a gentleman, a brilliant man, a ray of light, a class act, a respectful man, a loving man. I could go on and on. Now, all of you education meetings, advocating for all youth. He believed everyone was capable of learning and proved that when he tutored a group of my students while I was teaching in Dayton Public Schools. His commitment and dedication never wavered, and Unc's patience was second to none. Despite his incredible knowledge and unbelievable patience with his very non-mathematical niece. Some of my earliest sister and I all about school that day. A couple years back, Vicki and Unc had that C word I don't like to discuss during Thanksgiving, which was always our family's most treasured time together. Unc called me shortly thereafter, asking if we could have a family dinner at our house since he had to miss Thanksgiving. I said, of course, Unc, I'd love that. Family was everything to Unc. While visiting him at Bethany, Unc got that look that Unc gets and said, you know, our family's in the best. We just have a great one. And I said to Unc, that's because of you. It truly is because of the man that Unc was and the value of family. Of all else was family. And for me, it's one of the main reasons I feel I turned out okay. I was blessed beyond measure to not only have one father, but two who stood by me even when I didn't deserve it. Our family will miss Unc's physical presence in indescribable ways. He was the epitome of a true gentleman and a class act. I can't imagine high holiday services, Jewish family holiday dinners, and Thanksgiving without Unc there. But we will continue with the traditions because that's what Unc would want and expect. I would be very remiss if I didn't thank Unc's incredible caregivers, especially in his last days. To Brenda, Dan, and especially our Roz, God bless you all for what you did to maintain Unc's dignities in his dying days. Most importantly, sorry. I want to acknowledge St. Vicky. Her devotion, tenacity, and advocacy for Unc were truly inspirational. It is because of you, Vicky, we were blessed to have Unc for as many years as we did. Thank you, Cuz, for that incredible gift. I was not his daughter, but he was my father. I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my Unkie you'll be. Unc's memory will forever be a blessing to all who were fortunate enough to cross his path.
I'd like to call, excuse me, I'd like to call Harvey's grandson, Sam.
Okay. I'll leave you with a good story. Pop liked a good story. When I was about 5, maybe 7, we went to Red Lobster for dinner with Pop and Nana. I don't know the reason. And I've always had a big appetite, so we were looking at the menu, and I was looking through it, and Pop always said, "Get what you want." I'm looking through, and I stumble upon something that appears to be the most expensive item on the menu. And Pop's pretty good at math. He had instilled in us some good number sense, and I'm looking through some of the other items, and I'm like, this one. So I said, okay, I'll have this one. His eyes got wide, and that's what I got. And I share this story with you because for those of you who knew Pop, he had lots of stories to tell, and I'm proud to say this is one of the stories he would tell. He was a good man, and I'll miss him.
Now I'd like to invite Harvey's son-in-law, John.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for being here to honor Harvey. My name's John Buford, and I am the lucky guy who got to marry Harvey's youngest daughter, Vicky. And I said a few words, blub, blub. I was crying the whole time. And I thought I was going to do fine until I heard those guys go, but we'll just see how this goes. I first met Harvey and Sana in Chicago when we went out to dinner while we were visiting. They were visiting Vicky, and we had a wonderful evening. I really enjoyed their company. They were just so warm and friendly and inviting and engaging, and it was a wonderful night. And then I remember a few years later, Harvey was on a business trip to California, and he came to see us, and we had dinner at Vicky's apartment, and he wanted to tell us about a car wreck he was in where his car had almost been totaled. And about 3 hours later, when he was done, I knew everything there was to know about that car wreck. He had State Farm insurance. I think I could have completed the accident report. Harvey liked details. But one thing was always obvious. He loved Cindy and Vicky, and especially Sana. And as the years went on and our lives grew, Harvey and Sana were always there when we needed them. There's never a question. He loved us and he supported us. It was very rare to see him angry. He always had a perspective and believed things would work out. He was the eternal optimist. And as we started our family, I got to see what a grandfather should be. The only grandparent I knew was my mother's dad, Crawford, and he'd come to see us for Christmas for a couple of weeks and maybe once or twice in the summer, and he had passed away by the time I was 10. So the best model for grandparents I ever saw were Harvey and Sana Tuck. They gave us unconditional love. They came to visit often. Harvey would head home first and give Sana a little more time with us, and then we would take her to the airport, and everyone would cry. I think we would cry when we said the word airport before she left. But I can only hope someday that Vicki and I can be the kind of grandparents that Harvey and Sana were for our kids. When we moved from Seattle to Columbus, we were able to spend even more time with them, and it was a real blessing to have 25 years and then some with just a short drive to go see them or for them to come see us. We had family trips to his beloved St. Martin on Pelican Bay, trips to Hilton Head, where Danny was quite amazed that the waitress figured out that he liked cherries and gave him 2 both times he ordered. They would come and watch our kids in sports or in their music concerts or their graduation ceremonies or just to be around. Harvey and Sana always made us feel special. He would say over and over again how blessed he was to have such a wonderful family, 4 wonderful grandsons, and 2 great guys, in his words, who married his daughters. I wonder if he knew just how much he had to do with that. The love and enthusiasm he had for life, and especially for meeting new people, was remarkable. It was hard for him these last several years without Sana. He loved her so much. But he kept aerobics in his 90s. Maybe he liked seeing the other 90-year-olds in their bathing suits. I don't know. But he wanted to stay strong. He lifted weights. He was doing all kinds of things. He wanted to live every minute of his life that he possibly could. And up until that last month, he was independent and sharp as a tack. But then he fell, and he needed some help to get his strength back. And he was working hard to be able to go home. And we thought he was making some progress. We had a nice Father's Day lunch with him, and he really enjoyed that. But then he took a turn for the worse, and he had to go to the hospital. And he had a hard time staying awake. We thought maybe he'd wake up, but we weren't so sure. So on the way home from a short vacation, that of course came in the middle of Harvey's hospitalization, Vicki said, Harvey would want you to go on your vacation. He loved vacations. So we decided, in honor of him, that we would do that. And we thought we were saying goodbye. And we were there for a couple hours, and he wasn't really awake. And then he woke up. And we had 2.5 beautiful hours with Harvey. And he shared his gratitude and appreciation for us, for his remarkable life. He made sure to talk to Carl about his conception of God. He had some ice cream. He always liked his treats. And then he fell back asleep. And so we tried for another week to bring him back around. And there were moments here and there, but it just was not to be. So during that week, we wanted to make sure he was not alone, and we had a lot of help from a lot of wonderful people to do that. And I spent one night with him so that Vicki could get a break. And he was kind of delirious. He was kind of talking in his sleep and saying all kinds of interesting stuff. I happened to have spent a year as a nursing assistant when I was in college, working in a nursing home. And I've been around a lot of people who had dementia and were delirious. And a lot of times there's anger and swear words and some kind of ugliness, that can come out. None of that came out of Harvey in his delirium. It was love and kindness and some math lectures. And at one point he said some things I think I'll never forget. I don't know who he thought he was talking to, but he was speaking very clearly. And he said this, as a Jewish man born in 1928, the German people are not responsible. The Nazis are responsible. The German people also suffered. We should make packages and send them food. The job of human beings is to love one another. What a remarkable man. Kind. I've never known anyone quite like Harvey. The word unique is not enough. He was a true gem. I'm grateful to God for putting this man in my life, and I know you all feel the same way. His life truly was a blessing. As our friend Jareen would say, when Harvey was born, they broke the mold. He was one of a kind. I loved him deeply, and along with us all, I will miss him dearly. I love you, Harv.
When we lose a loved one, we become aware of how time keeps moving. And so we plead like the psalmist did, Limnot yamenu ken hoda, v'navi lavav chochma. So teach us to number, that was intentional, to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom. Years, but yet when they pass, there's little to acknowledge their existence. But we see the exact opposite with Harvey. He knew that it was not just the number of days that mattered. Significant lies, rather, in how we use the time that we live. It is about experiencing all that life offers, both its sorrows and its joys, its frustrations and its accomplishments. It is about being deeply involved in the lives of others, giving love freely and feeling loved and appreciated in return. When we live this way, we leave behind a legacy of cherished memories for our children, our family, and friends. Living a life like this means that we can be thankful that God has given us a heart of wisdom, allowing us to fill our days with meaning. Harvey was blessed with such a heart of wisdom, and his life was significant to his family, his friends, and his community. Harvey grew up in an Orthodox home as a first-generation American, navigating the challenges and opportunities that came with such a background. As a teenager during World War II, he helped in his father's store after school to fill in for many of the employees who had been drafted. There, he displayed an early talent for fixing radios and appliances, particularly excelling in thermodynamics concepts. After graduating from MIT, which is such an incredible story that I have no doubt we have each heard it at least once, when we think of Harvey, at least for me, I always think of education and the many clippings that he sent to the office for me to read. He was very passionate about education. He loved to discuss differentiated learning. He firmly believed that public education could open up the world for anyone willing to embrace it. And the opportunities it provided, being devoted to his family and his friends, always considering many others as family too. To Harvey, a stranger was simply a friend he hadn't met yet. He was optimistic, always seeing the glass as half full, and believed in supporting his community. To say it mildly, Harvey was a great conversationalist, especially, we know, when he talked about his travels. He engaged with everyone, but he always wanted to learn more. He would always ask, "What's going on?" or "What's your story?" Though he was full of opinions, he was a great listener, and he never held a grudge. Harvey took immense joy and pride in his grandchildren. He loved music, especially the pops. He prioritized family time. He believed that while you can make money, you can't make time. He lived his life to the fullest, embracing a saying that he liked, that you can't do at 60 what you could do at 50, to say. And he was deeply involved in our local community. He was an active member of the Engineers Club, of Temple, and, of course, the schools. Even though he was a mechanical engineer, it seems that Harvey wasn't particularly handy. He was more likely to hand you a tool than to use it himself. Cook had a sweet spot for ice cream and cookies. As a husband and a father, Harvey was exceptional. He had a remarkable work-life balance and often said he won the lottery with Sana, the love of his life and his wife of 64 years. Harvey had once told me that when he met Sana, he immediately felt comfortable and nice in her presence. He valued her loving spirit and supportive nature, noting that she was a great listener and an excellent judge of character. Harvey admired how she made parenting look easy and respected her immensely. And it was this that created a true partnership, one that was grounded in shared values and mutual understanding. Cindy and Vicky, Harvey's daughters, appreciated their father's incredible work ethic and the values that he instilled in them, especially regarding money. He was never embarrassed by humble beginnings and didn't believe in keeping up with the Joneses. He ensured that his daughters had financial literacy and supported their interests, making sure, though, that when they did get to engage in them, they always contributed. Harvey loved to challenge them, especially with math questions, fostering their intellectual growth. Harvey also extended his love for math to other children, as we've heard a bit, helping them prepare for math tests in high school. He had a unique ability to explain difficult concepts in simple ways, making learning accessible and enjoyable. Though Harvey grew up Orthodox, his faith broadened as he got older. Goer until later in life, and I will always picture him right back there. He believed in a higher power, and he enjoyed attending shul because it reminded him of the time that he spent with his father. Harvey was blessed with a heart of wisdom, and his love had immense significance to his friends, family, and community. He lived a full life of love, learning, and kindness, leaving behind a legacy of cherished memories. Today, we honor and remember Harvey for the remarkable person he was and the profound impact he had on all of us. For more than 96 years, Harvey, Pop, Uncle Harvey, Unc, has been among the just and the upright in this world. And so now, Harvey, we pray that you may continue to rest among the just and the upright forever. You lived your life with grace and honor, touching the hearts of those who are lucky to have loved you. Your love was truly a gift from God. Through your selfless acts of courage and love throughout your life, you helped to remind those close to you that we are all created in the image of the divine. Through you, others found the courage to live their lives to the fullest, adding true meaning to each of their days. And so now we pray for you, Harvey, that you go into safety of God's eternal embrace. May you enjoy the presence of God, in whose presence your holy soul shall rejoice, now and forever. We take a moment for our own silent reflection of all that Harvey's life meant to us.
Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzeitecha uvoecha. Me'ata
Now continue with the traditional El Malei Rachamim prayer, chanted first and then read in translation. If you are able, please rise.
El Malei Rachamim shochen bamromim Amzim menucha nechona tachat chanfi harukia mazirim et nisho bal rachamim yasiru b'siter knafav lelamim v'yitrur b'yitrur hachayim et nishmato Adonai nachalato v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo.
God of abundant mercy, God most high, may the soul of our loved one who has gone into eternity find the gift of perfect peace in your embrace, together with the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold him close to you forever, so that his soul may be bound up. This time I believe the pallbearers are being called forward. The service will continue at the cemetery, followed afterwards with a meal of consolation back here at the temple that everyone is invited to come back to.